Welcome to the Growth Minded Accountant podcast, where our experts will share best practices on running your firm in the digital age. This podcast is brought to you by CountingWorks Pro. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Growth Minded Accountant. I am your host, Lee Reams, the founder and CEO of CountingWorks, and today we're diving into a subject that is redefining the way tax and accounting practices build trust and lasting relationships with their clients. What is it? It's multi-generational family tax planning and accounting. So if you've been with us or a listener to our podcast, you know that we've been talking about the different generations one by one, and really kind of defining to you what the differences are, understanding why you need to segment your messaging, your imagery, your tone, the places that you're trying to communicate with these audiences, because each one has their own preferences. Again, I say this every time, we're not trying to pigeonhole each generation, but as a whole, they kind of move together in similar traits, and it is definitely something that is repeatable. Today, we're going to try to focus on crafting tailored family packages that not only address their challenges, but also the groundwork for generational financial success. And what I mean by that is if you can involve the entire planning from succession planning for businesses, for inheriting property, stepped up basis, gift planning, even understanding property taxes and utilizing a lot of these different things to plan around these things, and then throwing in the time value of money and compounding interest really makes a huge financial differences in their lives. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of different things from a service standpoint, and then we're also going to talk about how to market it and communicate with them. So as usual, my sidekick today is Rebekah Barton. She's our Chief Visibility Officer. Rebekah, if you could say hello.
Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast.
All right, so many of you may be bored of this generational marketing, but we're not, and there's a reason we're not, because this is absolutely the way the world has changed and the way people are going to be successful going forward. So, and not only that, your current existing client base really has all the referrals you probably would ever need. And there's enough upsells and cross-sell opportunities that you can really generate a lot more income with your current client base. So I'm going to go through and defining what are the four key generational demographics we've been talking about. It's Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, Baby Boomers. So let's start with Gen Z. They're about age 13 to 28 right now. What are their key traits? Obviously, if you have any children, you know they are digital natives, right? They're very cost conscious. They value speed and transparency. They will make impulse buys. They'll go on TikTok and see something that a bunch of people or influencers are looking at, and they'll literally buy it based on what other people are saying, right? What are some purchase drivers? And we're talking about purchase drivers for tax and accounting. They are going to most likely be a DIY tax person at this point. They're probably more into TurboTax. They're looking for mobile convenience. Social proof 100% matters. So what are some marketing tactics for these? So I already mentioned it, mobile first website and booking, short videos, whether that be TikTok Reels, Instagram, chatbots, instant quoting, right? They value their time. They need instant gratification. Their attention spans are like microseconds. So once you get them, you got to get them to act, and they will act, which is crazy, right? So influencer endorsements and user reviews are going to be key areas for this group. The next one is millennials, age 29 to 44 right now. Tech savvy, research driven, socially conscious. They're seeking affordability and value. They do want online access. They like clear pricing, sustainability, ethical firms. So in this way, when you're doing like talking points, you might put in some of those narratives inside your brand messaging, right? So what is important as far as marketing goes? SEO and AI optimized content. So when we say AI optimized content, we mean you need to be able to start creating content that AI is going to start utilizing when they start answering people's questions and queries. You want to be the reference that they're linking to. We're doing, after this podcast, we're actually going to take a little break before the end of tax season. You guys don't want to hear about us anymore, probably to this time period anyways, but we're going to then push into some ways that dramatically have changed the way marketing works in 2025. Luckily for you, if you're a customer of CountingWorks Pro, We're absolutely on it. We are cutting edge, but I think that more importantly, we are doing what is working now. And many of you that are kind of stuck in the old ways are going to be left behind in some ways. So let's keep going with millennials. SEO optimized content, blog posts, FAQs. They love webinars. They love virtual workshops. They will look at targeted social ads, specifically on Instagram. They will listen to email nurture series that you add with tax tips. There's a lot of different ways to kind of communicate with them. Let's go on now to Gen X, obviously the golden age, the best age group. I have a little bias there, but 45 to 60. I put together this key traits that I was laughing. It said time pressed. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Pragmatic, financially established. Most of them are in their prime earning, time period, right? So they prioritize what? Expertise, accuracy, personalized service. They are willing to pay premium for peace of mind. So, I will pay more feeling that I have not left something on the table or I've minimized my risk, right? So what are some marketing tactics that will work with Gen X? LinkedIn thought leadership. So big into thought leadership, case studies, client testimonials. We preach this to our current existing clients. We have clients with hundreds of reviews, and 100% people, even if they're referred to you, they're going to Google your name. Whatever they see in the results is going to go, hey, this is like the social proof behind that referral, or other people saying the same thing. And if they see the words responsive, knowing what they're doing, saving me money, making me, better financial outcomes, it's going to really help. So these guys will like kind of hybrid approaches. So you can include your blogging, your newsletters, your outreach, but they also love webinars. They like Zoom meetings. They actually like talking to humans. They like interacting with you. So this is kind of a hybrid, I think, where you can utilize technology to make things more convenient for them. So if they trust that you have a secure client hub, for example, if they trust that you have processes that are going to make it easier, take the friction out of working with you, they will use digital technology. But when the results are done, and even if you use AI to help you put together a tax planning report, for example, or analyze income statements, they're still going to want to have a virtual meeting with you. Okay. So really important. The last one, and there is one after baby boomers. We're not going to address it. Too small of a size. So baby boomers, 61 to 79, 100% the old day, word of mouth, referrals, relationship oriented, trust traditional brands, loyal to traditional brands. They value your reputation, referrals, right? Face-to-face interactions, perhaps not just a Zoom meeting, right? They're going to be concerned about their legacy planning, and you're going to start seeing it as this generation continues to age. The need to do smart planning, to gift things, to plan on how they're going to inherit homes, the estate planning. There's so many, even the retirement plans, how they take things out, how they take Social Security. There's so many ways to really that what I would say drive them to purchase decisions, right? So what are some high marketing tactics here? Referral programs, incentives. They like local sponsorships, communities, your local school, sponsoring them, baseball, whatever. They still will listen to and read print mailers. They love credentials. They love the phone. So a couple different ways, phone outreach and in-person seminars are still working with the baby boomers. So some quick action plans. I just wanted to go through this quickly. So segment your CRM by generation. I think that's one of your takeaways. Tailor your messaging, your tone, your channels, your content format per audience. Test and track engagement. So look at open rates, clicks. Are they filling out your forms by each generation? And then what I would do is double down on your highest ROI channels for each segment. So what you'll find is Gen Z, for example, might be more responsive to your TikTok reels, and the boomers might be more responsive to some email white papers, okay? And once you figure that out, what I would suggest is let's concentrate for our boomer clients, these channels. For our Gen Z, let's concentrate on these channels. So that's kind of the synopsis of what generational marketing is all about. And I now want to kind of start tying in, and Rebekah has written a blog article that we posted. Was this in January? Is it that long ago now?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of tie in what like a generational family tax planning and accounting would look like. So understanding kind of the basics for it is you can service an entire family's worth of needs, and you can tie it into a package that perhaps even your boomer clients will maybe pay for their services for their younger clients, right? But now you can get that generation to generation continuity that they stay clients. And maybe you're going to be doing some simplified tax returns, but you're doing tax planning and involving the entire multi generations and to understanding the entire ecosystem, right? So, when so and so passes away, what happens? What happens to their nest egg? If you don't plan ahead for this, the tax man is going to take a big percentage of it, right? So there's got to be ways to involve everyone and really get a better financial outcome. I've been listening to a bunch of podcasts that talk about a lot of younger people, middle class people have kind of lost that will to feel they could be successful. You come to America, everyone wants to feel they can become a millionaire. And by doing this and actually talking about what compounding interest is, time value of money, getting all the generations involved, I think you're going to have much better financial outcomes with people just living their lives and not really planning. And when you can show someone, hey, we reduced your property taxes, or, when you inherit this house, the basis rises, you're not paying taxes, capital gains taxes. That's a significant amount of money. So if I saved $100,000 or $200,000 here times 40 years, what does that equal? And those are the kind of things we want to talk about when you start putting out these family packages. So let's talk about a little more of the vision and kind of what your thoughts were. Why did you write this article? And kind of what were you trying to communicate to our client base about understanding the importance of marketing to perhaps all the generations?
Yeah, so there were several goals with the article. We had been doing the generational blogs, and I thought instead of just having each one segmented into 4 or 5 different articles, it would be nice to kind of bring everything together. One, from an SEO standpoint, it kind of served as a pillar piece to kind of bring everything back together, show people how this can all work. And secondarily, from a practical standpoint, this is a really good way to ensure that your firm has a steady stream of income, sometimes for decades to come. So if you're serving, say, boomer parents who have millennial children, those children may already have Gen Z or Gen Alpha children. So you're really getting this steady stream of, okay, this is our financial provider. This is our tax person. This is the person who has done my family's taxes for 20, 30, 40 years. So not only are you setting yourself up for success, but you're setting your firm up for success for a very long time. And thirdly, this is a really good way for you as a tax professional to provide your clients with really good financial outcomes, which is obviously your goal as a professional. You're in this for a reason. You're in this field because you want to help people. And this is a good way to help families and to really establish yourself as someone who can provide, kind of help them achieve their dreams, which I think is something that everyone is looking for, like you kind of alluded to, Lee.
All right. And let's go into what I mean when I'm talking about family tax planning and prep service. Like, what are some of the elements that would go? So at its core, this service is about creating a roadmap. You're trying to paint a picture for these families, right? And what we're trying to do is connect today's financial decisions with tomorrow's goals. So we're trying to build wealth. We're trying to be charitable, whatever it is. So whether I'm helping try to expand the family business, or we're buying a second home in Aspen, whatever, so basically what we're doing is trying to blend what I'll call proactive tax strategies with essential work of tax preparation to provide a seamless, stress-free experience. So when we talk about proactive tax strategies, we're trying to get people to, again, don't think of the actual tax return anymore. Let's think of all the different tax planning that goes around this. So similar to what you're hearing in influencers about creating advisory services, but they're really kind of just talking about the one client, right? Or the one family, the husband and wife. They're not really looking at it as a family approach. So I believe this really sets the foundation for what I'm going to call long-term financial planning. So what are some key components of this? I would have a comprehensive family financial health check, whether that is bundled into some sort of quarterly or monthly package that you're doing, or maybe a one-time, like big in-depth review of each family member's financial situation. Think of it as like creating an inventory of what everyone is doing. What are their goals? And again, I don't think I'm out of line by making people get a little more into the privacy of each person. We have adult kids living with their parents now. You know why? They can't afford homes. I have a neighbor who has 2 kids graduated from big time schools. They're hugely successful, have incredible cars. they're getting older, but you know what? They're still living in mom and dad's house. And the reason is the houses in this are multi-million dollars. They can't get a foot in, and they don't want to live, in certain areas that are lower cost. And this is kind of a way now to start examining the goals of the family. What are the future needs for when these people start getting married and have kids? And how are we going to support them? How are we going to put these kids through college, right? So there's a lot of different ways to kind of analyze this and put this, brand it as a family financial health check. So then you go into the multi-generational tax strategy development. So, you're crafting a strategy that considers the financial landscape of every generation, right? So what are you trying to do? Are we trying to optimize deductions for the current year, or planning, as I said, for future educational or even retirement expenses? As a family, and if you're, a lot of people care about their legacy, that's going to be an important thing. Integrate seamless tax preparation, almost like throw it in there, right? It means you're doing all this work, but you're also doing the compliance stuff. And then what I would start doing is start using storytelling to illustrate how these smart tax moves today set the stage for the future. And then, there was the All In podcast has had a guest, and they were talking about what percentage of Americans understand what the time value of money, or even just compounding interest means, the rule of 72, these things. And, I bet you the percentage is so minimal and that's half the reason, a lot of people they're into crypto, right? They're gambling. Younger people are gambling. They're not investing. They're doing it because that's their only hope for a big, kind of a big payoff. But if they understood compounding interest and understood, oh my God, if I just put $500 a month into Fidelity, even the S&P 500, and I receive whatever 11% average over 40 years return, what does that equal? I mean, could you imagine if our Social Security funds were invested that way instead of invested in treasuries earning 4.8% or whatever it is? We wouldn't have a Social Security shortfall. So this lack of education, this lack of structural things are something that I think you can really start tailoring into the narrative for your marketing side and really just getting people to buy in, right? And then what I would do, since tax laws obviously change, state laws change, you make this a continuous advisory tool. So you want regular check-ins, you want strategy updates, you want to look at, what has changed. If so-and-so had a kid, or there's certain things I need to change as far as the kind of the process. So, I think that's getting you kind of understanding a little bit of how to do this. But now, Rebekah, let's talk about actually marketing it. So I don't care how you set it up. You can use, tools like Max AI to create the packages, but let's talk about communicating it, marketing it. What would you do when you sit down with one of our clients who wants to start down this road? How would you develop the messaging? What would be the communication funnels that you would use to start pushing this?
So there's a lot of different ways you can do it, obviously, because you're trying to reach a lot of different generations. So it kind of depends who you want to reach first. I think for a lot of firms, it is going to be the boomers. They're the ones with the most wealth. They're the ones who are more forward thinking as far as planning for their legacy, estate planning, things like that. Email campaigns to your current clients can go a long way here, just to establish the fact that you're offering this new service. So that would be kind of the first thing I would do. Prime your people. Create even a drip campaign with landing pages, with white papers. Why do you need generational tax planning? Why do you need family tax planning services? You could do that to kind of prime everybody. Then when you're doing meetings or doing check-ins, you could even make one-on-one phone calls to some of your clients who you think would be interested in this service. Have social proof available. Hey, look, we did this for so-and-so. This is what we were able to do for them. We can do the same thing for you, or something similar for you. Tell them real life stories. This needs to be personal. It needs to be something that they can see themselves doing. Lee, you and I talk a lot about storytelling, putting people in the shoes of whoever you're talking about. That's really important when it comes to generational marketing and family tax planning, because you want people to be able to visualize the better financial outcome for their family.
So I want to get in more to the crafting the narratives, and that's what we're even pivoting a little bit. Accounting Works Pro will be offering, I'm going to just call custom narratives for all our new signups that are on our higher end VIP level packages. And the reason we're doing that is a bunch of things, actually. What we're seeing is now with AI, infiltrating and kind of competing with Google. SEO, as we know it, is changing. We talk about search everywhere optimization, but getting that story to make you stand out, and more importantly, that your audience feels they're a part of the story is what is key. So if we're working with a client, let's say a CPA firm that has 500 clients, they have probably 100 what I'll call higher net worth families that are target audiences for this. Would I set up a separate landing page? Would I set up a separate section, my website? Would I set up a separate website for this? How would I now communicate my new offering, and then also get everybody involved in this to see kind of how it all ties together? Like, we want to illustrate, we want someone to be able to scan your story to go, whoa, I should be doing this. This is a huge ROI for us. Kind of explain that process.
So I think landing pages are great for this. It would depend on the situation if I would advise someone to do a full second website. That would be kind of a one-on-one strategy thing for each firm, but a landing page would be an amazing tool to have for generational tax planning. I think one way to set up the page would truly be like a story. Have a different block for each generation with an image that is reflective of that generation, and literally take your clients through. This is what this will do for, boomers. You can use ages or generational names, however you want to actually title it. This is what it will do for Gen X. This is what it will do for millennials. This is what it will do for Gen Z. And then as these parents look, they'll start to see, okay, this is how better financial outcomes could happen for my children. And then as they forward it to their kids, those kids, like people in my age bracket, the millennial age bracket, could see, okay, this is how this is going to help me. And it's going to potentially help my children, and it's going to help my parents. And I think just having this kind of, to use a buzzword, holistic approach to what you're putting on the landing page is super helpful to really take people through the full generational story with specific pain points. For boomers, things like, plan for the future and leave your family the best life you can leave them. For Gen X, who are a lot of times planning for college, things like that, put something like, this will help you, put your children through college and still be able to have the retirement you've always wanted. Really focus on these aspirational things that you can help people achieve that they might not otherwise be able to get.
So would you recommend, and I know there's strategies, but you could do it in the reverse. You go to the millennials, the Gen Zs, with messaging that says, you need to have you had this talk with your parents? Do you know if the family business, what are the plans for it? Do you have a place at the table? I think a lot of times these are things that are done behind closed doors, or conversations that aren't had. And I believe the role of a CPA, an enrolled agent, a tax professional, CFP, whatever, is to break through that. You need to be upfront. This is reality. This is life. We get one shot at it. Let's do the best thing we can for our family, our legacy. What would be your approach to go? I call it the back door, but whatever. Going down to and then having them kind of approach their parents, Gen Xers or boomers.
I actually like that approach too, and I think it's great you brought that up. So with that, you're obviously going to want to use different avenues. I think, using Reels on Instagram, using TikTok videos, things like that. Use a really strong cover image with text, something like, do you know what's happening with your family business? That kind of thing would stop me in my tracks, I really think, and be like, oh, wait, I don't know. And then obviously provide a hook, some kind of reason for them to call you, reason for them to contact your parents. Link it to a landing page in your bio. Hey, if you mention this landing page, we're going to give you, 25% off, 50% off your first month's fee with us, just for sitting down with us and taking a look at what we could do for you. That's going to be highly effective with both Gen Z and millennials. We love a hook. We love a reason to contact you, and we will reach out if you're giving us a reason to. And they're more tech savvy sometimes than their parents. So it might be a really good approach, whereas you might not be able to reach a boomer online. You might have to sit down and make physical phone calls. This is a really good way to reach people online if you target those younger generations first.
Boomers are much more capable than you make them sound.
They are, and my dad is very tech savvy, so if he ever listens to this, I'm sorry, because he is a boomer.
I did have, unfortunately, my in-laws called that one of their friends sent an email that said, hey, you're invited to such and such. And it was obviously a phishing email. And she unfortunately didn't see through the typos and clicked on it, and then her Apple ID was hacked, and then blah blah blah. So then they're calling me how to get out of this and how to scrape computers and the craziness. But they went and bought a new iMac, and they did figure out they had like a 14-year-old computer, and they're wondering, I wonder why these things aren't protecting me from this kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you, you need to be nicer to boomers. So you're going to get there, I just swear. So let's talk about this. And from a point of view, I mentioned all the different generational marketing segments, but every single one of them in their own way was really into social proof, whether it be an influencer saying something or something that is going viral or trending, or it's a one-to-one referral, or it's a review that I read, or multiple reviews. But I want to talk about building trust as your most important asset of any tax and accounting practice. So your reputation obviously is everything. Your ability to amplify that is even more important, but just even the health of your business. If you're doing a really good job, and if you're listening to what we're talking about here, I think you're going to understand different ways to utilize your existing client base to build your practice, right? But if trust is the cornerstone of any successful advisor-client relationship, I think with family tax planning, you're not just delivering a service now for 1 year, but you're cultivating an advisor relationship that spans decades and generations, right? So what are some things that we do for our clients that we have found very successful? Client newsletters, social media posting, being responsive. But what are things that are signals that build trust and your reputation over time?
So Google reviews are first and foremost, I'm going to go to those. They're kind of obvious, but Google obviously is king when it comes to search. And even with the rise of AI, Google is still going to be a major player. There's no way that Google's not going to be a major search player. So we have review campaigns that are pre-written. We really encourage our clients to send those out. And that's going to be something that's going to help you across generations. Everybody looks at your Google business profile to see your Google reviews. That holds true across almost every generation. So that's really important. And to consistently get those 5-star reviews is essential, because if you load up 3 years ago, no one knows if you're still providing the same level of service. So consistent 5-star Google reviews is super important. Another thing that I bring up a lot, and if you've listened to our podcast, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about content clusters, but they are a great way to build authority within your target demographic. So if multi-generational tax planning is something that you really want to focus on, I highly recommend posting a content cluster on your blog, on your website that relates to this. You can use AI to help you build it out. And that's going to be something that's going to sit on Google. And over time, you're going to build authority within this area. And the great thing about content clusters is that you can use them and repurpose them for lots of other forms of content. You could take them and turn them into email newsletters. You could take them and turn them into social media posts. You could take those posts and turn them into white papers even for your clients. So there's all kinds of things you can do from a single content cluster that's going to help you continue building authority. So that's another super important thing. And then also having testimonials on your website is important. Whether you're simply linking to your Google reviews and having the Google reviews show up on your website, that's one way to do it. We can do that for you here at CountingWorks Pro. Or you have video testimonials. We have a lot of clients who are sitting clients down in their office, and they're taking a short video of a satisfied client who's saying, hey, this is why I love working with X firm. This is what they've done for me. And that can be very effective because it kind of pulls on the emotions of people a little bit more to see those facial expressions and really hear the relief or the happiness in someone's voice when they talk about those services.
People like authentic stories now, and it doesn't have to be overly polished, don't throw AI, and make it look fake. People are jumping all over that. So I think that's important. But continuity, I think, is what is, you said, be consistent. Like, continuity is important. So being out there, communicating with clients, right now with the uncertainty in DC about what our tax policies are going to look like with tariffs, we have all kinds of uncertainty. You, as the most trusted advisor, should be proactively pushing content out to your audience, whatever that target is, whatever that channel where they're watching that. This is the biggest opportunity ever to really put that out there. So I think that's important. Another thing I want to get into a little bit here is differentiation in a competitive market. So we talk a lot about a generalist CPA or enrolled agent tax professional firm. And what we mean by a generalist is I set up shop in the beginning. I'm taking any client I can, and then I end up with 10 clients, right? But all 10 of them are from different backgrounds, different income levels. Maybe one, three own businesses, the others are self-employed, some are W-2. They then refer friends. And now you have a hodgepodge of segments of clients. But the reality is, you're more of just, again, you're a jack of all trades. So each new client comes in, you're not specializing in their particular area. So maybe you don't know the back secrets or the terminology or the jargon that they use. You have to learn it. If you were more specialized, you would stand out more everywhere. So both on social, both in your ranking on SEO, your brand would be positioned. So kind of explain, if you can, and this is a little off of the family side, but talk about differentiation and why it's so important to stand out. We don't want, a race to the bottom based on price. We don't want tax and accounting services to become a commodity. So if you differentiate yourself, if you position yourself, you're going to be able to get higher fees. You're going to be able to have a waiting list of clients, but kind of explain how that works.
So, as you said, Lee, if you have expertise in a certain area, you're going to be able to command higher fees. You're going to be able to get more of the clients that you want. You're not going to be stuck doing work on, things that don't interest you. If you have a particular interest or a particular niche that you're really good at and you're really passionate about, one, it makes your workday a lot more pleasant. Two, you can do a lot more work in less time because you understand that type of client. We've talked about this before. You're cutting down on your workload. You understand the process. You'll have a better referral pipeline because people within that niche or that target demographic will recommend you to other people within that target demographic, whether in person or online, however those referrals come. And thirdly, you will be able to command higher fees because experts can command higher fees. We've mentioned this before too, but if you position yourself as an expert for e-commerce, you are going to be much more likely to be able to charge a lot more money for your e-commerce clients than a generalist who just happens to also do e-commerce. Whether or not you actually have the better skills, right? So positioning yourself, building that brand identity is critical to differentiating and to really helping yourself stand out online. People ignore ads. People ignore general ads. We get a lot of ads every day. No matter who you are, you're seeing ads. The more niched down you can be, the more you're building that brand identity and the more consistent you are across platforms, the better off you're going to be in the long run, the more income you're going to have, and the higher quality clients you're going to attract.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I'm going to end this. We're going to start wrapping up. I think we've covered this very well. I did create like a template for people just to think of more of how do I approach my current client base. I'm going to read a little bit of it because I think it's important. I'm going to put this on a white paper, like a download, and I'll put it on my LinkedIn. So Lee Reams, Counting Works Pro, Lee Reams the second. I'll post this here in maybe end of day. And if you go to my LinkedIn and find this, you'll be able to download it. But basically, I'm gonna read you the first two paragraphs of what I think a letter should look like. So imagine a service where your tax preparation isn't just a compliance task, but a launching pad for long-term wealth creation. With our family tax planning and prep services, every tax dollar saved today is seen as an investment for tomorrow. We start with a comprehensive family financial health check that dives deep into each family member's financial status. By uncovering opportunities for immediate tax savings, we then show you how reinvesting those savings, harnessing the power of compounding interest, can transform your financial future. And I have one more paragraph I think is important. I think this is good for you to kind of think about and you can play off of this. So our approach is built on the principle that every dollar saved has the potential to grow over time. So the earlier you start, the greater the exponential benefits, thanks to the time value of money, right? This service doesn't just help you manage taxes. It builds a financial roadmap that sets the stage for significant asset growth, whether you're saving for retirement, education, or building a legacy. And then I go into, all these different examples of what a tiered package looks like, how you can put this together. Feel free to edit this, put it into Max if you're using our AI tool to rewrite it for your firm. You're using ChatGPT, whatever. Feel free to utilize this as however you want. But I think this gives you a better idea of understanding how to implement this. And I think it's a good base, so to speak. So that wraps up our series on generational marketing. And if you have not watched them, we did one for boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z. We broke down each audience in much more detail, about 30-minute conversations. We talked about segmenting. We talked about targeting, what channels they most likely are going to listen to and be receptive to. So now we kind of finalize this word, how you can tie this all together in a new product. I think this could be a huge opportunity for you as tax season ends. As usual, if you have any questions on the topics that we've talked about, any strategies you want to talk to our team at CountingWorks Pro, this is what we do for a living. We're becoming masters at this. We're combining the power of AI to make these scalable solutions. Things, we're basically doing agency level services now at a cost that is not $20,000, right? And I think it's amazing what we're going to be able to do for the select few of tax and accounting firms that get it. There was an influencer recently sent an email that I was like, it was so shocking to what they were saying that I even brought it up at our board meeting. It was basically said the tax and accounting pros could care less about their branding. They just want to be able to have a template website. They don't care about cybersecurity. They really don't. Unless they're hacked, then they care. But they just want to go through their day. And I'm like, you know what? For that group and audience, I don't think like what we do at CountingWorks Pro is probably for you. For all the others that are killing it right now and succeeding and are going to be around in the future, 100% there's a new way of doing things. It's time to wake up and really take care of it. So feel free to reach us out at countingworkspro.com. There's an ability to schedule a strategic call with us. We can kind of start talking about some of the things. So we will take a break. Rebekah, where are you going? You're going out of the country again.
I'm going multiple countries.
I'm lucky. This has been a tough year. I have not had many vacations at all, but I am going to leave for a short Cabo trip. We were allowed 5 days. That was all the opening because of water polo season and swim season. So we're in swim season and polo club. We have games Saturday, Sunday. We leave Monday to Cabo, go to Friday, and then we have games Saturday, Sunday. So it's our little bit of a break, I guess. But I'll bring the ball. Respite. Yes. So whatever. We'll have a good time. But anyways, we're going to re-engage after tax season. And again, we're going to be talking about some amazing things, how things have changed, how forward-thinking accountants are going to be able to prosper in this new world of AI and technology. So excited to build upon this. I hope you enjoy the growth-minded accountant and the topics we're talking about. I think they're game changers for those that are listening. Obviously, our clients are killing it. So we want more of you. We want more of you to be successful. Until after tax season, we'll talk to you later. And please feel free to comment, ask questions. If this is on YouTube or anywhere you see this, hit me up on LinkedIn as well. So we appreciate you spending your time with us. Thank you.